Greetings, all you phenomenal human beings who are worthy of love. It's so great to be with you all here for Re-Indigenizing Thanksgiving here at Vermont Law School. Hope you enjoy this meal together, this time together. For the Haudenosaunee, we have this notion that when you share a meal together out of the same bowl, the same spoon, you become kin, you become family. So as we've been doing this tradition for many cultures, we talk about re-indigenizing across Turtle Island, sometimes referred to as North and South America, that tribes have come together for thousands of years to give thanks in a good way, that peoples from all over the world have come together, whatever your backgrounds, and different for many different peoples have come together in ways just to give thanks for harvest, for people, for family, for in different ways. So what a time it is to be together. Thank you all so much for your attention, for your ears, for your hearts and your spirits. I'd love to start today just introducing myself in my people's language, as language is important and culture is important. So I'm honored to share you with these words right now. And I'd say, Sigoli, Narioliwas, Skanagoga, Skanago, Wogduktani Wagitalota, Oniada Aga ni Ugwewe ni Haudenosaunee ni English ni Irish ni German ni Lagwadio Nigilyaks. I just said in Oneida, greetings, what is the news? Are you with peace? I am with peace. I am Turtle Clan. I am people of the Standing Stone. I am Oneida. I am Haudenosaunee. I am English. I am Irish. I am German. My Oneida name means he is a good man. I am so thrilled to be with you all here. It's such an honor that your minds, your spirits, you all as the leaders of today, leaders of tomorrow. Thank you all so much that justice is in the eye of the beholder. Thank you so much for being advocates and allies, and for people to carry forward notions like the Great Law of Peace, which is an influence for our U.S. Constitution. It comes from our Haudenosaunee peoples as well, too. So I would like to share today a little bit about some of the histories of Thanksgivings over the years that leads us up to 2025 today. Would love to share with you all some resources. Would love to share with you all a Thanksgiving Haudenosaunee address as well, too. It's a way that we give thanks anytime we come together as people. And I think it would be very fitting that we do that here now and coming together in a good way. And then just as we send you all out with love and appreciation, and just as we continue to make this day our own and uplift the values that we want to uplift and reclaim and re-indigenize, and in the words of Linda Twai Smith, a Maori scholar, all these different ways of through storytelling, recognizing the beauty of our ways. And one of those ways is reclaiming as well, too, which we're definitely doing through testimony, storytelling. So such an honor as well, too, to be having the words of Professor Hillary Hoffman, and just to be listening to learn from everybody else as well, too. It's such an honor to do so. So as we begin today, we'd like to look at historically what this day of Thanksgiving has been celebrated as. So again, as we talked about, for many people like the Haudenosaunee, we have been recognizing this notion of giving thanks or a Thanksgiving address for millennia, thousands of years. For people even in England, people who are going over there, whether it was religious celebrations or even secular celebrations, where it's just this notion of giving thanks for harvest and bounty and life, had been doing this for a long time as well, too, at least hundreds of years or more. As they're coming together here in 1621, this date is the one that is often uplifted, often talked about in a lot of the depictions of Thanksgiving, the lore, the story. The fascination with the story is the Pilgrims and their buckled hats and the Native Americans. And this is usually the time period that's usually being lifted up is this meal in 1621. Now, there was a meal in 1621. It's perhaps more nuanced and complicated, I think, than I would definitely argue than gets passed down or reducted to. So let me break it down for you here. So the year is 1621. And at this time as well, too, we have some people as the Wampanoag people. So shout out to our leader as well, too, for the Vermont Law and Graduate School. So shout out to John and your peoples as well, too, for the Wampanoag. That is you being here today is such a celebration of life. And that is Thanksgiving as well, to be with a descendant and someone living on, carrying on the legacy of these peoples who are still here, which is such a good reminder to let people know that we are still here for the Wampanoag and for many other tribes across Turtle Island. So 1621, the Pilgrims, settlers, are coming across, and they eventually, and this is not the first group of peoples who've been here as well, too. We think about this, people from Spain and Florida around 1565, people in Roanoke, Virginia, which predates this 1621 date as well, too. So the 1621 is a date that comes to be lifted up because of this particular meal, and during this time as well, too, the Pilgrims, what they're coming by before this, and as they come upon the Wampanoag people, they come upon what is called a political entente. And these political allies or political entente is notion of saying, okay, Wampanoag people, and they were able to have this conversation because they had a translator. And this translator, his name is Tisquantum. A lot of people know him as Squanto as well, too. A good question you should be asking yourself is, how did Squanto learn English? How did Tisquantum know English to be able to translate this conversation? Well, Tisquantum had been taken from a neighboring Wampanoag people, as believed the Pawtuxet Wampanoag, and he had been taken as an enslaved person to England a few years before this situation. So he's taken as an enslaved person, eventually finds his way back to come to the village where he was at, which had since been had been taken out, it sounds like, by force. There's different tellings of the tale of talking about there's like blood running on the shores of like where his village was. So the notion is Tisquantum eventually moves to this neighboring Wampanoag village, which has a similar language basin. And Tisquantum is able to translate because he learned English, because he was an enslaved person by force, and they're able to navigate the situation. So the settlers are coming to the Wampanoag with Tisquantum as the translator. They're having this conversation back and forth. And the idea is, if you don't join us, the pilgrims saying this to the Wampanoag, if you don't join us now, we're going to go join to the people who are close to you, who are your allies. I'm sorry, not your allies, people who are going to be some of your, how would you say, some of your neighboring people who you're perhaps competing for resources over. So some people that it's not always, there's tension there oftentimes. The idea is we're gonna go join with these neighboring peoples who you're competing for resources with, and we will wipe you out if you don't join us now, essentially, and choose to be part of this agreement. So the Wampanoag agree out of really survival. The notion, if we don't do this now, they'll go to our neighbors and try to come back to take us out, is what they're telling us. So yes, we will do this. So it's less of a buddy bestie situation, more of a political ally survival, political entente situation. So eventually, as this day comes to be of the Thanksgiving, and it's talked about in some of the journals from the people who were there about they were shooting off their arms, and as they were shooting off their arms, Massasoit, who is the leader of the Wampanoag, he comes along as well too with 90 of the Wampanoag warriors. And the reason why they showed up is because when the settlers were shooting off their arms, their guns to celebrate, as they were doing this, the Wampanoag thought that they were at war. They thought, oh shoot, okay, like we have to like owe up to our part of our entente here. We have to like support the people who are with. So they're ready to go to war, but then they're able to have Tisquantum and talk about no, it's actually not going to war. We actually want to we want to celebrate, and there's not enough food here for you all. But if you want to bring some food, you all are here now. You can be here. So the idea was the Wampanoag went and got 5 deers, and then they bring them back, and then they presented them to the English peoples. Some of the English documentation or the English kind of retelling of the story as well. But they present them this year, and then they have this meal together, and they feast. And later. So here's the thing about that 1621 is a beautiful meal. Notion of gastro diplomacy, people together, coming together through food and different things. Powerful point. We're not besties, or we're not really good friends, really more of a political entente. A thing as well too, the words Thanksgiving were actually never used at that meal. It's never recorded or talked about, the words Thanksgiving. The words Thanksgiving would be talked about in 1637 when Governor John Winthrop of Virginia is giving a proclamation of Thanksgiving for the safe return from settlers who came and won a victory in war, as he described it, over the Pequot people, Pequot. But here's the thing, that victory in war, as he described it, was burning down a village, and the numbers are, I've seen numbers between 700 to 900 Pequot men, women, and children who were in their village and were burnt alive because settlers came and burnt down their village while they were asleep in the middle of the night. And it's sometimes referred to as the Mystic Massacre, if you were to look it up and research it on your own as well too. A really heavy thing. The notion is this would be the first proclamation of Thanksgiving as well too. And sometimes throughout history after that and the formation of the country, or leading up to that, some Thanksgivings were given, and sometimes as well too, these were in battles, and who were these battles over were the people who were originally of this land as well too. So it's a heavy time. This is where the notion of the National Day of Mourning comes about from this 1637. And it just from like the lack of knowledge or the lack of awareness or the lack of desire for people to learn about this and to focus on the 1621, which never had the words Thanksgiving. When it comes about in 1789, George Washington recognizes the day of Thanksgiving as well too. Eventually, Abraham Lincoln, in an effort to try to unify a country that was a civil war, the notion was to recognize this day of Thanksgiving as well too. And it was really, it's really uplift and tell a certain story. The foods that were told about in the Thanksgiving narrative from 1863 by Lincoln are going to be much different than like the ones that were actually eaten as well too. I'm told that eel and cod were on the menu as well too for like the 1621 that meal. So maybe not quite the same pumpkin pie perhaps, but I do love pumpkin pie, so I'm still going to eat that. um, for as we go forward as well too. So 1970, the National Day of Mourning begins, and this is where a descendant of I believe it's the Wampanoag Gayhead, if I'm not mistaken, and is a descendant of one of the peoples of that Wampanoag peoples from one of those first meals as well too, and from those times of the going even to the from that era as well too. So he's a descendant of, and he's talking about this day, how one of his relatives was asked to give a speech about this day, and he gave them a speech ahead of time because they asked for it, and they said, "You can't give this speech; it's too inflammatory." And he said, "Well, this is we come together." So at this place in Plymouth Rock, there's people who come together, and they still recognize this National Day of Mourning every year. And for some people, this is the day of remembrance. There's a really good resource and video I can show you on a YouTube playlist here in a little bit for resources I would definitely recommend for you to check out on your own. But it's just this notion of this person speaking, and he's saying, he's like, if I like live in the negative, if I live in I can spiral that way so hard as well too. So I have to look, I have to see what I can do and make it my own. Like it's like don't celebrate that because that like those the thing like historically inaccurate. Like do your research, but the notion is that we can still make it your own. Make it still a day of Thanksgiving and family and heritage. And I know for me, like that really powerful for me is my family's Oneida, Wisconsin. So my family's reservation is Oneida, Wisconsin. Our tribal nation is there. So a few years back for Thanksgiving, I went there, and for the day they recognized there is Native American Heritage Day. So it's Thanksgiving and Native American Heritage Day, and that was just so special and healing for me. Because I'm not going to lie, after I first learned about the really heavy history, I would oftentimes come Thanksgiving when everyone else is watching Thanksgiving Day parade and football and meals and things, like I'm in the closet like crying because I'm just like it's just such a heavy thing to recognize like this history that's not recognized or people don't want to know or don't know, and just like trying to really heal from that. So I think it was really healing for me is recognizing this Native American Heritage Day. I was like, whoa, like we are still here, we have our culture, we have our peoples, and what a beautiful thing that is to celebrate as well too. So I'm going to briefly share with you all. It's a resource as well too that if you want to learn more about, but if you go on YouTube and you search Thanksgiving / National Day of Mourning / Day of Remembrance, there are about 23 videos here right now talking about some of the things I've talked with you today as it goes on from the 1637 Mystic Massacre to some of the different perspectives of historians and leaders talking about this day as well too, and from a Wampanoag perspective and how it's being taught about and how it's being reframed, and just many indigenous scholars, which I definitely recommend if you're as legal scholars. And I know you all, truth has no fear from investigation. I know that you all are phenomenal researchers. So definitely, if you want to check it out, it's on my YouTube channel, Dr. Thomas James Reed, and it's Thanksgiving, National Day of Mourning, Day of Remembrance is a playlist. But do check that out on your own as well, too. It's a great resource for you and for loved ones and for continued learning, so we are all lifelong learners. I'd like to close us out here by sharing this Thanksgiving address by the Haudenosaunee as well, too. And it starts out and it recognizes, we give thanks for the people. It says today, we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. The Earth Mother. We are all thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, we send greetings and thanks. The waters. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms. Waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. The fish. We turn our minds to all the fish life in the water. They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. The plants. Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. The food plants. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we have harvested from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greetings and thanks. The medicine herbs. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. The animals. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We are glad they are still here, and we hope that it will always be so. The trees. Now we turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many peoples of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. The birds. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about above our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day, they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. The four winds. We are all thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help to bring the changing of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strengths. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. The thunderers. Now we turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. I want to make sure I have Grandmother Moon here. The sun. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires of life. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the sun. Grandmother Moon. We put our minds together and give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of women all over the world, and she governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and is the moon who watches over the arrival of children here on earth. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. The sun. Oh, sorry, the stars. We give thanks to the stars who spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to all the stars. The enlightened teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the ways we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. The Creator. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choicest words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. In our closing words, we have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send thanks and greetings in their own way. And now our minds are one. I say to you in Oneida, Yawanko, Ganalukwa, Unugiwa, thank you, I love you, until next time in Oneida. Take care.